Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. If you have a cheeky hype as well, if you're on mobile, that always helps out. So thank you so much for those. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Late Elderberry 9164. And it says, Am I the arsehole for telling my wife she was being difficult due to a seating issue at the restaurant? On Sunday, my wife and I were out for a date night. My sister was babysitting our 2-year-old daughter, so we had the night free. I was busy with some friends in the afternoon, so I had texted my wife to make reservations at the restaurant. And a few minutes later, she told me it was done. When we got there and were taken to our table, she said that during the phone call, she had asked for a table next to the windows and that the lady who'd taken down a reservation had said she had noted it down. The guy said there wasn't anything written and there wasn't any window side table free. So if we could be seated at the current table for now, he'd see what he can do. That table was good too, and honestly, I wasn't fussed over the window, so we sat down. A few minutes later, she told me she saw someone be seated at the window side table. I said it was fine, but as the same guy walked past, she told him she'd seen someone be seated and we were supposed to be first. He said he'll check it out. When he left, and I want to be clear, I didn't say anything in front of him, I said it's our date night. Let's not be difficult. She didn't get angry or anything, just said she wasn't being difficult, we were first. A few minutes later, the guy came and took us to a window side table, and we had a great night. Later that night when we were in bed, I said it had been a great night. She said yeah, despite me being difficult, and seemed a bit put off by what I said. I said I only meant that our night would be good regardless of where we sat, so it wasn't a big deal. She said how was she in the wrong? We were promised a particular type of table, and she just kept them to their word. That I was blaming the person who was wronged. I said okay. I didn't see the point in pushing it and apologized for my remark. We were planning on another night this weekend and I just recalled her being mad at me for what I had said. So I was wondering if I was the arsehole that time. Yeah, I feel like OP would be the arsehole in the situation. I mean, she made a specific reservation request. The restaurant messed up for whatever reason and she politely, and it was polite, held them accountable for it. In my opinion, that's not being difficult at all. The real issue is that he called her difficult for speaking up and sort of acted all confused when she was actually hurt by it. She didn't make a scene in this. She didn't blow up and go crazy or anything like that, like we've seen in other restaurant type stories. And in the end, it wasn't about the window seat. It was about him making her feel bad for not being a pushover in that situation. But in the comments, I was expecting your wife to be difficult, but she wasn't. You're the arsehole. She was assertive. If you have daughters, please make sure they learn that skill from her, and remind them that no person should take it away. Another commenter says you're the arsehole. It's our date night and let's not be difficult, and our night will be good regardless of where we sat. Have two completely different meanings. The first is critical and sounds like, hey, this is our night, and if you behave like this, it will ruin it for me. The latter is supportive and says, it doesn't matter where we sit, I'm just happy I'm here with you. As a long-time service industry worker, we do have to fix our mistakes. If she was told she would have a window seat, she should have one. Of course, things happen and mistakes get made, but upon your arrival, a mistake was noted, and she was then given the idea that there was something that could be done. It's completely okay for her to follow up on that. It's not like she had some big meltdown. As a restaurant worker, I would have been completely okay with her behavior and apologetic as the restaurant was at fault. Be genuinely apologetic and book a surprise window seat for her this weekend. Commenter says, the wife made the reservation. She found the restaurant, probably checked the cost on the menu, looked up pictures, saw the view, made the reservation, noted the request for the window. So she spent some effort on this already. She may have picked that more expensive restaurant for that view. It sucks when you do all that and don't get what you tried to reserve. A small amount of assertiveness to see if it can be corrected is not being difficult, and it's annoying when your partner strolls into the situation and doesn't care and tells you not to be difficult. Commenter says, the long history of women being called difficult for not being doormats is what made me cringe. That would have been a pause the evening until we discuss why that isn't an appropriate adjective to use to describe a woman moment for me. So it was 4 days after this that OP comes back into the post and says hi. I'd received an arsehole judgment on my post, which made me reevaluate how I behaved then. On Sunday we're going to go out again. I took care of the reservation at a nice restaurant and stressed that we really need a window table. When we got there we had to wait a few minutes, but we got a window table. My wife joked that we got a good seat without any difficulties. I'm not 100% about this, but it seemed that comment of mine was still on her mind. So I took that opportunity to apologize again for my remark. She said it was all good. She knew and liked I was easygoing, but she just liked looking outside as well while eating. It was weirdly important to her. We had a great night. Thanks to all those that commented on my last post. It gave me some good insight. Bloody hell, that update, I was like, oh, this is going really well. And then it got to that comment where it said, it was weirdly important to her. And I just slapped my forehead right then. I was like, oh, dearie me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is one that we covered, I think it was about a year ago now. A pretty unique story if I remember, but now it's come in with a what's titled as a final update. It's from Appropriate Elk 2603 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and as always we're going to cover the previous parts of the story. If you want to skip certain parts, timestamps down in the description, all that good stuff. Titled, Am I the Arsehole Here for telling my brother he cannot stay with me over Christmas if he brings his prosthetic leg. My brother has a prosthetic leg. I think it's creepy as fuck and I have no idea where he got it. I'm reasonably certain that it is something I would rather not know. To be clear here, my brother has 2 perfectly healthy legs still attached to his body. He just has this thing he takes with him everywhere. I don't know why. I don't want to know. Before you ask, yeah, it is probably a mental health thing. He wanted to stay with me rather than our parents while he is home for the holidays. I said he was welcome to stay so long as he doesn't bring that thing into my house. He said it wasn't a big deal and that he would leave it in his luggage. I agreed on the condition that if I saw it outside of his luggage in my home, then I had the right to destroy it. He backtracked on staying with me and is at our parents' house, where he is miserable. They still treat him like a little boy instead of a guy who is almost 30. He called me again after supper and asked to please stay with me. I said he could so long as we, together, took his thing and put it into a storage unit until he leaves. I get the key. He won't do it. He says that I'm being a bitch for not letting him stay with me. I think he needs to get therapy or medication, or both, or a girlfriend, boyfriend, dog, cat, hamster, something. Just not a GD prosthetic leg. So, a few comments on this. Bodybuilder says progression of my reactions. The title, oh yeah, you fucking suck. First paragraph, what do you mean? Second paragraph, just question marks. Third paragraph to the end, what the fuck? Captain Shan says, I know right. I was like, that's really mean. Oh, he has 2 legs. Chris says, I know this is extremely distressing for you, but I'm laughing so hard. At first I was like, is this arsehole serious? She won't let his brother bring his leg. Like his whole last leg he needs to walk because he literally lost a leg in some horrible accident. But then you clarified both his healthy legs are still attached and I lost it. Not the arsehole, but you and I are not the same. I would need to know. All of it. Where did you get it? Why'd you have it? What'd you do with it? Did you steal it off a bum or something? Then I would stare at him uncomfortably until he broke and told it all to me. I may later regret my decision, but I don't often think that far into the future when something catches my attention. Another one says, an emotional support prosthetic leg. That's a new one. Fantastic says, her brother won it in a raffle, and it came all the way from France in a crate marked fragile. The leg is actually a lamp, and it wears a black fishnet stocking, a black high heel shoe, and a fringe lampshade. Dan says, I'm a prosthesist, and I have to ask, what does this leg even look like? Below the knee or above the knee? Does it just have the pylon bare? Or is there a foam covering so that it sorta looks like a leg? Is there a foot shell on it? Or is the foot component just sorta hanging out? The reason I'm asking is because A prosthetic anything is mind-bogglingly expensive, and B, you can't just have a prosthetic leg if you have two perfectly healthy legs. You literally need a stump to make one that's specifically yours. Did your brother receive it from someone? Did he steal it? And just to be sure, it's an actual prosthesis and not a leg brace of some kind. I've had patients and their families make that mistake before. Opie says it looks like a carbon fiber cup with a steel knee and lower leg and foot. Commodore says, aka prostheses are not cheap. That's an entire car right there. I would actually grill your bro on where he got it because it is 100% not his. If he stole it, he's looking at a felony/grand theft charges. If he bought it, check his and your parents' financials because again, these things are insanely expensive and he doesn't sound like the brightest bulb. Make sure he does not try to sell the prostheses or any of its components. I get that they can be hard to get for the people who need them the most, but if the components are damaged in any way, they can lead to gnarly injuries for when they inevitably fail. If you truly want to get rid of it, there are organizations out there that will take old prostheses and refurbish them. Gin and Tonic with Dog says, out of interest, what happens to prosthetics when the owner dies? Do they get refitted to someone else? Not the arsehole for not wanting it in your house though. And the last commenter says, unfortunately, the vast majority get tossed. The socket is specific to the owner, and you can't really adjust them to someone else's limb due to the material and the fact that everyone's stump is different. Components such as the knee and foot are technically reusable, but a lot of the time, they've been used enough you can't pass them on with a good conscience. The only times I've seen components reused is if the patient tried them on during test fittings and they didn't like it, basically under an hour of use, or if they happened to pass away before they even got to put them on. So Opie comes in with a first update, which was 11 days after that post, and says, I didn't realize how much attention this was going to get. Enough that someone informed the woman my brother stole it from, and she was able to figure out what happened. She called the cops and he got arrested. I guess he was sort of trying to do the thing where he could be the hero that tracked down her leg. Please don't ask me what the fuck was going through his head. The leg was expensive enough that he is facing real criminal charges. That's all. Sorry, there is not more to tell. Gold Magic Up says, I remember reading this originally and wondering why the hell he needed that leg around everywhere with him. I feel like he would have returned it way sooner if he wanted to play the hero. Potential Speech says to that, that's wild. I wonder why he wanted to bring it with him though. Is he obsessed with a woman and has to carry the leg with him all the time? I mean, stealing it is one thing, but why carry it around all the time? If he tried to be a hero, he could have hid it. Sounds more like a weird obsession. I don't think he wanted to give it back to be the hero. I have so many questions, but I'm glad the woman will get her leg back. This is something I never thought I would ever say. So the next update came 2 years later, November 2025. It said, so it's finally over. My brother had to go to court after being charged with several crimes, the most serious being felony theft. I will just put bullet points of the results. Found guilty because he was too stupid to take a plea deal. Had to serve some time incarcerated and now has parole. Managed to avoid being charged with a sex crime. My parents paid to have the leg reconditioned or whatever it's called. A professional prosthetic devices mechanic got it back in working condition. The woman got her leg back as well as some money in restitution. He's not welcome at my home with or without any prosthetics for the foreseeable future. The woman has a restraining order against him indefinitely. That's all there is to tell. Hope this answers everyone's questions. Thanks for still caring about this weird experience in my life. Little Miss Savior Fair says, congratulations on having the best judgment of anyone in your family, I guess. Considering he refused to plead, I assume he's learned nothing from all this. Beautiful Sweet says, hold on, you can't leave all of us hanging. How did your brother get this woman's leg? How did he know her? Was he dating her, a friend? Met her on a bus and stole it? How long has he had it? You said he wanted to be the hero by returning it, so why the hell was he still holding on to it? And exactly how long did he have it? Another commenter says, right, this update did not answer all my questions. I have so many more questions. All of yours plus, how was this a sex crime? Why didn't he take the plea deal? Why did he take it in the first place? Seems like being the hero isn't it. Is he getting the mental health treatment he obviously needs? Brutal says it sounded a bit like the brother had taken the leg in hopes of persuading the woman to sleep with him after he, the hero he is, found and returned it. I could see that not going perfectly to plan for someone who created such a stupid plan and veering over into extortion easily enough. And that was titled as a final update, so I'm not sure if we're ever going to see the OP again. I hope we do because, like some of the commenters were saying, we were just left with more questions. I mean, my initial thoughts weren't going down this be the hero sort of thing. For me, it was certainly some sort of obsession with the woman who owned it, and where it jumped out to me is like he nearly got charged with a sex crime, the restraining order, of course. It's all pointing to something really disturbing. And I thought he was just keeping it as some sort of like he wanted some sort of trophy or some sort of obsession object or something along those lines, which he may have possibly used to manipulate his way in the end. Bloody hell. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is coming from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Popular Statement 731. And it says, I charged my friend $90 after she altered the dress I lent her. Am I overreacting? I, 24 female, have a friend, 23 female, who came to me a month ago asking to borrow a blue bridesmaid's dress. I was a bridesmaid for a wedding with a blue theme not too long ago, so I lent her the dress I used. She was a really good friend, so I didn't really mind helping her out. After I handed her the dress, she texted me thanking me and have not really heard from her since. Anyway, the wedding happened and a week later, she came to return the dress she borrowed. When she came over, I asked her how the wedding went and whether or not the dress was comfortable. That's when she admitted that she had it altered to fit her better since it was smaller than me and that she liked it more snug. I was shocked, gagged, confused. I don't even know how to feel about it. She didn't even ask my permission to have it altered. Also, isn't it common etiquette to return borrowed things in the same condition you received them? Also, she could have just asked. Anyway, we had a conversation about how I didn't really appreciate what she did. She apologized and flat out said I can still have it readjusted if I wanted to wear it again, and that she was willing to pay for it. I told her I wasn't sure it would work since she basically shrunk my dress. Then she suggested I sell the dress. So I asked her to buy it since she took it upon herself to have it altered without my permission. She asked how much, and when I told her it was $90, she straight up told me it was too much, that she wasn't willing to pay that much for a dress that had been used. I feel like it's a reasonable price as I bought it for almost $120. Also, it is a cute dress that I intend on wearing again. Am I overreacting for what I did? Is my reaction valid? P.S. Hoping there are dress experts and dressmakers here. Is there a possibility to restore the dress to its original size? The dress is made of satin, and she made it snug around the bust and waist area. Here is the said dress for reference. Much thanks for the comments and responses. Right, let's have a look at this cheeky dress, shall we? Just attempting to explain for the podcast here. It's a dress with straps on the shoulders, floor length, blue obviously, or it says dusty blue on the website. Nice dress. Looks a bargain at that price, I think. Well, I'm no expert though. For me, I would say you're absolutely not overreacting in the slightest here. She took your dress, altered it without permission, and just tries to hand it back to you. Cheeky bloody so-and-so. But it was the fact that she said, she apologized for it and said you can still have the dress readjusted, and she was willing to pay for it. I don't know about dress adjustments, etc., and if it's possible, blah, 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 but I would have thought that's going to cost more than the dress itself to adjust that. Again, I got no clue. I'm just literally going wild with that one. But I'm just saying this for the fact that, OP was going to charge her $90 for the dress, and she said it was too much. So how much was she expecting to pay for this adjustment? And in the end, for a friend to treat you like this, for a friend to look at you, borrow your dress, alter it, and then hand it back, and then look you in the eyes and say, basically, tough shit, I'm not paying for it unless it's something stupidly low. The bar is low in terms of friends right there, right? But OK Cardiologist says, hi, I'm skilled at working with antique fabrics and at pattern making. I doubt that this dress could be let back out to its original configuration and size. For one thing, satin is very unforgiving. It shows needle marks, seam pressing, and the satin textures wear off easily. Satin is difficult to work with, even if it has not been messed with, and care is needed to not disturb the satin texture. Taking it in is one thing. That can be done without spoiling the dress, but letting it out? That's not the same thing, since the stitches removed will show, and so will the seams that have been pressed. Not overreacting. If you borrowed a chair from your friend and had the legs shortened without her consent and then gave it back to her, I wonder how she would react. Opie says, thank you for this. I do love it when someone with knowledge comes in and just says, nah, can't do that. New Jellyfish says, not overreacting. My grandma used to say, borrowed is related to gifted, and learned in the hard way that it's true. Honestly can't believe the audacity of altering the dress. A true friend would have told you, hey OP, thank you, but it's a little big for me, instead of basically making sure you'll never be able to wear it again. If you have the receipt or anything that shows the price, I would send it to her, demand at least the $90 you told her, and stop considering her a friend. Commenter reply sets in the cojones to tell her that she doesn't want to pay $90 for a used dress. She's the one that used it and then ruined it for the OP. Oh my god. So, OP does come in with an update and says, hi, thank you for the comments and messages. Every one of them has been extremely kind and helpful. First of all, I want to address the people saying the original post was made to promote the dress. I literally just wanted to know if there was any chance it could be re-altered because my friend was only willing to pay for the re-alteration. Promoting the dress would benefit me in no way whatsoever. Now onto the matter. I've spoken to dressmakers, tailors, dress experts, and they all said the dress cannot be restored to its original size and form since it's made of satin. I even went to the actual shop where my friend had it altered, but they also said there was nothing they could do. Anyway, my former friend still refused to pay me and is still being a shitty person. Plus, she had the nerve to ask me to just give it to her or sell it to her at a lower price, and it got me wondering if that was her motive all along. She probably knew the dress cannot be re-altered. I don't know. After all that, I've decided to just cut her off and take the high road. I honestly don't have the time or energy to chase her down for $90. But I know I can buy another cute dress with the $90, but I paid triple that to never ever speak to her or see her again. I ended up giving the dress to my roommate, who isn't a shitty friend, and thankfully it fits her perfectly with some minor adjustments, on the sides maybe. So at least the dress didn't completely go to waste. Sorry if this isn't the dramatic update some of you wanted. I know a lot of you were hoping I'll take her to small claims court, but I'm choosing peace. If anything happens, I'll update, but for my sake, hope that she stays the fuck away from me. And in all honesty, I can't blame OP for chasing this down for $90 and choosing peace in the end. Of course, I would love her to get her money back, but sometimes peace is the way forward, even if it isn't the dramatic update that some people want, of course. $90 to discover that friend isn't the person you thought they were is a small silver lining in the end, I guess. I was reading some of the other comments below this as well, and I can't believe there was a couple of people talking about how this has happened to them as well. One saying that they had a vintage dress and their friend did the same to them and now it's hanging on their wall because they can't wear it again. Deary me, these awful people out there that will pull this sort of shit to their so-called friend. It's heartbreaking for the people involved there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever had a friend, I'm air quoting here, borrow something from you, adjust it or ruin it, and then refuse to pay it back? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on and it'll automatically scroll through all those videos for you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one. You bloody cheeky so-and-so. Take care and much love.